What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Jordan Stupar. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about 7 changes that I made in my sales process with my sales skills, and changes I made as a person that took me from being a brokey salesperson who was always checking their bank account, was always behind on payments, and was living paycheck to paycheck, to becoming the type of person that was living at the top 1% of all income earners here in these beautiful United States. And what I mean by that is taking home in excess of $400,000 to $450,000 a year. It happened very quickly when I made these changes, and I believe that if you stick around for all 7 of these, particularly my bonus, that you could have similar changes depending on what your income and earning potential actually is. So, without any further ado, here are the 7 changes that I made that you might be able to make that took me from brokey to millionaire fast. The first thing that I realized in my sales career is that I was doing a bad job of listening to customers. I was listening, like people say, listening to respond. If somebody had an objection or something to say, I'd basically listen to it just enough so that I could respond, instead of actively listening, really paying attention, and unveiling all the secrets to the sale. Truth is, if you actively listen to your customers and you're truly listening to understand, they will give you all of the ammo that you need to do your job and make a sale. Obviously, if they're qualified and they have any type of need, being able to actively listen to that customer is going to be the first thing that will make a difference in helping you identify what their motives are for buying or looking at your product, and then ultimately understanding the objections or the things that might be holding them back from the sale. So, become a better listener. Take better notes. One of the tricks that I did is I always have a sheet of paper in front of me with a pen, and I'm always writing down things that come to mind. I'm always writing down little details or info that I can use later on to, one, show that I was listening, which is impressive by itself, but more importantly, so that I could reference the things that my customer had said on that call. So, be a better listener, you'll make more money. The second correction that I made in my sales process is I got really good at following up with customers and became very persistent. Truth is, I used to be one of those sales guys that legitimately never followed up with a customer because I believed that if they weren't going to buy with me today, that they would never buy, which turns out to be a total crock of shit. Regardless of what you sell, and I've sold a lot of stuff in my time, every single time I've sold anything, I've realized that these customers usually end up buying my products from somewhere. And if it's not from me, then I'm losing out. So I got really diligent with my follow-up, and I learned how to establish real relationships that are built on trust with my customers by utilizing entertaining and engaging forms of content that can help increase their certainty, their trust, and ultimately hold people's attention throughout that follow-up process. If you're struggling with following up, I would encourage you to hit the description notes below next to the words follow-up. You'll find a little bit of a link that'll take you somewhere that I think will help you out. The third mistake that I corrected is that I was always winging it. I was never really prepared for sales meetings. I was never really prepared for sales objections. I was never really prepared for anything. I thought that I was skilled. I thought that I was talented. I thought that I had understood my product and my company, when truthfully, I was never really prepared for any of the things that happen in the sales process. I wasn't really prepared to identify who I was speaking to. I wasn't able to figure out how to cater my pitch to people. I wasn't prepared on handling objections. I hadn't practiced, I hadn't role played, I hadn't perfected my sales approach in any capacity. So of course, I got unlucky, because what luck is opportunity meeting preparation. And if you're prepared for opportunities, then you're gonna see more opportunities. No duh. The fourth correction that I made is I stopped focusing so much on features and started focusing more on benefits. A lot of you guys are probably wasting a good chunk of your sales presentation or your pitch just feature vomiting on your customer and telling them about feature A and feature B and feature C, when the truth is that nobody really cares about features. We understand why they're important, but they don't make us feel any type of way. So if you want people to feel something, well then you have to do a better job of explaining the benefits of what that customer gets when they decide to acquire and take ownership of the features that you're actually selling. At the end of the day, I'm sure that you've heard people say that people buy off of emotion and close with logic. If you're busy focusing on features which don't actually generate any emotional responses with people, you are going to close less sales. What you need to do, like I mentioned, is focus on the benefits. And if you're still struggling to understand what a benefit is the intangible feeling or emotion that somebody gets as a means of being able to use or have the feature. So focus on that and you'll make more sales. The fifth correction that I made in my sales career that put me in the top 1% is I actually began investing time, energy, and money into my skill set. Your skill set in sales is your ability to directly influence, persuade, and motivate somebody else to say yes to you. And if you're not investing into those skills with time, and you're not investing into those skills by hiring a coach, a mentor, doing courses, reading books, anything that can help give you more information and a better approach to what you're doing, I promise you, you're not going to make as many sales because you are not working on that skill set. I think it's funny as a sales coach and a sales trainer talking with other people who aren't really making a whole lot of money, telling me that they'd rather rely on their experience in sales to learn sales. That is literally the stupidest thing that you can do, because there is nothing more expensive than missing a bunch of opportunities to finally uncover the lesson that you're supposed to learn and then implement it the correct way. They do say that smart people learn from their own mistakes. And they also say that wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So get a coach, get a mentor, read some books, go through some online courses, and invest what you can into the one skill that you have as a sales professional that actually puts money in the bank. The sixth change that I made in my sales career that made me a lot more money was getting way better at managing my time more effectively. The truth is, and you already know, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Some people just seem to be getting more out of the day than others. That's because when I was a brokey, I was spending my mornings sleeping in. I was barely on time to get into the office or get out on the doors or whatever it was that I was selling. And I was wasting the majority of my day with distractions. I'm talking about messaging girls back in the day, looking at stuff on YouTube or wherever. You guys are messing around with TikTok these days, just mindlessly scrolling when you could be making calls or doing something more effective with your time. And then I was not actually doing anything at night to improve my skill set or my ability or work on my personal development, because I was busy, smoking and drinking and going to happy hour and trying to impress other people that would never buy anything from me anyway, and obviously weren't doing a whole lot better than me in life, so couldn't really give me any real good advice. And so when I started changing the way that I spent my time, and I started allocating the bulk majority of my time to either improving myself or actually getting work done, guess what? I made a lot more money because I was increasing my personal value by role playing, practicing, investing into courses, talking to mentors and coaches, and getting information. And then, of course, I started actually limiting the distractions that I was having, and I started making more calls and knocking on more doors and taking more sales related activities, and voila, wouldn't you know it, I ended up making more money. Crazy, right? The seventh correction I made is I was able to correct my fear of rejection. If you're in sales, you probably get rejected, and if you're in sales and get rejected, you probably don't like it very much. Nobody does. I still to this day don't like being told no, getting hung up on, being called names, or any of the things that salespeople deal with. But I have learned something important, is that no matter what the sales outcome is, you are always, always, always going to get paid for the work that you put in. There is not a single time that you've been hung up on, a single time you've been cursed out. There's not been a single time that you have been rejected where you weren't actually paid for it. Think about it. If you took the amount of income and commissions that you earned last year and you divided that by all the phone calls, door knocks that you made, well, then you'll understand that you got paid X amount of dollars for every single time you knocked on a door, made a call, or sent an email, or whatever your sales activity was. You need not be afraid of rejection. It's part of the game. And the more times you can get rejected, the more money you're gonna make. That's the way this thing actually works. And by the way, when you do figure out how much money you're actually making, regardless of the sales outcome, the question is, well, how many more of those sales activities can you do in one day so that you can get paid more? Now, of course, those are 7, but I told you I would have a bonus for you. So here's the bonus. is I started making everything in my life more difficult than going into my sales job. What I mean by that is how I spent my mornings and how I spent my nights. I made my mornings and my nights more difficult than going into my sales job. It became so easy to go into my sales job because, oh my God, thank goodness I don't have to run 5 miles. I already did that this morning. Or, oh my gosh, my sales day is over. Now I get to actually go role play in the mirror and listen to call recordings and do some things that I don't necessarily want to do. Those two things, the mornings and the nights, dramatically improved my ability to be more effective in my role during the day as a salesperson. Now, I'm not going to say that all of you guys or any of you have the bandwidth or the capacity or the ambition to sacrifice your mornings and your evenings and your weekends and some holidays to generating more revenue and making more money. But if you are the type of person that truly wants to unlock your earning potential, the only thing that you have in common with your income is you're the person responsible for making it. So if you're not making the amount of money that you want to in sales right now, or you're not closing as many deals as you would like to, or you're in the middle or the bottom of the sales board and you're tired of watching other people at the top, it's your fault. It's not the leads, it's not the customers, it's not the product, it's not the company, it's none of those things, it's you. You are the one thing that you have in common with all of the money that you make. So if you're unwilling to make some of the changes that I've outlined in this video, or you're unwilling to make investments of time, money, and resources into those skills, then I can assure you, you are not going to make as much money long term and have as lucrative of a sales career as you were hoping for when you got into it, which is, well, for me, totally fine. But for you, that might make you feel some type of way. And if you do feel some type of way, good news is you can go down to the description notes below. There's some links, there's some info in there that'll allow you to unlock some additional information on what you can do to get better at sales and make more money. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, I would kindly ask that you share it with a buddy, a colleague, a friend, associate, a cousin, a brother, sister, aunt, uncle, your dog, I don't know, somebody that could get some value out of it. And I would also kindly ask for you to hit that subscribe button so that you could always stay at the top of the news, the insights and the information that I work so hard to bring to you for free on this wonderful platform. And finally, I'd also ask that you comment below. If there's a question or something that I can do to bring you some value, let me know.